Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Girl Boss Method podcast, hosted by myself, Ritu Bra. So today's topic is one that's been requested from one of the girls inside the Girl Boss Method program. So every week we do educational topics. And so this week's one is all about aging and fitness. So we are going to be talking about the importance of fitness in aging, exercise recommendations, nutrition and lifestyle, and long-term benefits. So, the importance of fitness and aging. So, we've got physical benefits, and some of these will be like cardiovascular health. For example, regular exercise is going to reduce the risk of heart disease, which unfortunately is the leading cause of death for women. And this is a fact that's been put out by the British Heart Foundation. And again, that physical activity is going to help improve that heart health, lower that blood pressure, and manage those cholesterol levels. We've obviously got bone health is massively important because as we age, ladies, we are at risk of osteoporosis. So we want to ensure that we are doing weight-bearing exercise to help maintain that bone density. And then muscle mass, which we can all agree is one of the faves here, but we are going to be building muscle mass, maintaining it as well. Again, this typically declines with age. And again, the evidence is that, the strength training can counteract muscle loss associated with aging. So when we're thinking about muscle and muscle mass, I think a lot of the time people relate the muscle mass thing to just like an aesthetic thing, but it is a massively important thing for like your physical health. And it's as simple as like being able to go to the toilet and like reach down and grab something and lifting a saucepan of boiling something or other off the hob. So those are the things that we obviously need to have strength for. And muscle loss, unfortunately, is going to be a huge issue. It's going to put you at risk of falls because if you've got no muscle strength or muscle mass or anything like that, if you haven't got that muscular endurance, that strength, anything like that when you're older, like you're more likely to be falling over because your balance is going to be poor. And then obviously you've got that increased risk of falls and again, osteoporosis, well, bone breakages, etc. Okay, so there are obviously some wonderful mental health benefits. So you've got cognitive function. So engaging in regular physical activity is linked to better cognitive function and lower risk of dementia. So exercise can improve your memory, your attention, and your processing speed. Other mental health effects are that it helps reduce the symptoms of like depression and anxiety. So it's about having that output and that sort of like I call it like a vice as well, being able to like move. There is something so good as well as getting all the endorphins from engaging in physical activity. You've also got that feeling of feeling strong and feeling like you've worked. Oh, it's just amazing. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to do it. So in terms of the recommendations, so for example, we can break this down into the various types of exercise. So cardio, activities like your walking, your running, your swimming, your cycling, they are going to help improve your cardiovascular health. And the NHS recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 minutes of high intensity cardio a week. So my question to you is, how much of this are you doing weekly? And if we want to break it down and actually just go, let's look at it quite simply achievable, let's have a look at walking, right? So if you were to break up 150 minutes of walking a week, I mean, again, maths is right now, it's not my great, but let's just say you did 30 minutes per walking, I'm sure you'll be able to rack up that 150 minutes soon enough. And then you've got your strength training. So lifting weights or using like resistance bands, even, they can help maintain your muscle mass. And the recommendation, again, comes to 2 times a week or more, targeting all your major muscle groups. And that will help you there. So again, even when we're thinking about like resistance, it's the idea, it doesn't always have to be, strength training. That obviously that is king, but again, it's about relative resistance and relative strength for you. Okay, so it depends on where you are on your journey with that. And then we've got flexibility and balance. These are actually very, very important components of fitness, and I feel like they're often ignored. But as you know, some of you know, I have got a background in things like yoga. Yoga, I mean things like Pilates. Yoga, I've dabbled in it here and there. I've done a bit just for myself. I think it's brilliant stuff. But Pilates, being an instructor myself and actually doing it as well, using the reformer, it's great at helping you with your balance and your flexibility. And then again, building, if you don't have access to that sort of movement, you want to try and build in some of that stretching exercise and stuff to help enhance your flexibility and prevent injuries, because we don't want to get injured, right? Okay, so practical tips for this. So you want to schedule these bits of activity in. So integrating short bits of exercise can help when you've got like busy schedules. So sometimes some of the ladies will say, Richie, I just can't fit in a full exercise session. I've got so much going on. Go and take 10 minutes. Go and do a fast-paced walk, or pick 3 exercises and go for it for 10 minutes. And the idea is it's not going to suddenly create these massive muscles, but it's going to help you with your mental well-being as well. Just getting in that, and again, that cardio as well, depending on how intense you make those 10 minutes. But squats, lunges, some press-ups against your desk, as long as your desk is stable, those sorts of things, these short bursts of exercise just to get the blood flowing. And they can really help you cognitively as well, help you feel focused when you're at work. And then workouts on the go. So we've got our wonderful Girl Boss app to help keep us, help keep us in tow with like travel and work commitments. So some of the ladies actually travel for work, and some of the ladies have such an amazing lifestyle because they're always on holiday. But yeah, so a couple of the girls, they work with airlines and stuff. So obviously they are traveling. So again, with travel and work commitments, whether you're working up in town or you're working across the country, you have the ability to move your workouts to where fit, and then also access different types of workouts as well, based on your time availability and what equipment you have around you. Another thing is join a fitness program. This is really going to help you for motivation and accountability. And that is what we have inside the Girl Boss Method. We have a wonderful WhatsApp group, and it's just amazing being able to like share this experience together, be focused on the same journey. And we also do these quarterly events as well, where we meet up and we do amazing things. So more recently, we've done some like fitness training. We've gone into a gym, we've lifted some weights, and that's really been fun. But, I've got some tricks up my sleeve. And later this year, we will be doing an activity that I just think is going to be amazing. And it's very close to my heart as well. Okay, nutrition and lifestyle. So ideally, a balanced diet. Oh no, when we're thinking about a balanced diet, I'll always kind of come back to the 80-20 rule. I think that's so good when you apply it to creating a balanced diet. We always want to be healthful. Ideally, we want to think about considering things like our protein intake. Now, we do have some recommendations, and this is from like the British Nutrition Foundation. And this suggestion is actually quite low. For those of you that are engaged in training, in strength training, it needs to be higher. And actually, if you are older, it needs to be older too. So 1 gram to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is probably okay if you're not really doing much. But if you are engaged in physical activity and you really want to try and maintain that lean muscle mass, especially if you are, believe it or not, if you are actually dieting or you are trying to be in a calorie deficit, it's really helpful to increase your protein intake, because it's going to help with your satiety levels, and it's going to also help you maintain that lean muscle mass, because we don't want to be losing muscle when we are looking at losing weight. It's so, so important. And then obviously we've got recommendations around calcium and vitamin D. These are obviously very important for our bone health. I've got that wonderful lingering cough that's been going around. But anyway, just to bring it back to you, fortified products can help here. For those of you that do have dairy in your diet, then you can include that. But fortified alternatives, I mean, even like for us vegans, like tofu, etc., is great for helping you with, you know, fortified calcium, vitamins, leafy greens as well. Don't forget that. And then for your vitamin D, getting out and being exposed. So although the NHS recommends, you know, 400 IU of vitamin D per day for most of us in our age group, I would highly recommend supplementing, especially here in the UK. We do not get enough sunlight. We need to ensure that we're getting enough vitamin D. I have a whole training that talks about some of these other things as well when it comes to protein, calcium, and vitamin D. But if I'm honest with you, and it's totally safe to as well, I would even recommend 1,000 to 2,000 IU per day in the summer, and in the winter, maybe even like 3,000 to 4,000 IU per day. It's actually safe for you to kind of, I think there is an upper limit of around 10,000. Nobody really needs to be having that much unless that's prescribed by your GP. But ideally, you do want to definitely get yourself tested and consider what those values might look like for you. And then when we're thinking about like antioxidants as well, these are great because they help protect cells from damage. These are things that help us keep young. They help with cell rejuvenation, etc. So yes, you want to make sure healthful diet is key here. Include your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds. Again, healthful diet. We want to be thinking about that 80-20% rule here. And then other healthy habits. Sleep. Sleep, I feel like, is the center of the earth. Sleep is so, so important. And so many of us lack sleep. And again, I've got a whole training on sleep here as well. Just bear with me one moment. I talk so fast sometimes. It's like you've got to get that water in. Right, anyway. Excuse me. Hydration is actually one of those things as well. So when it comes to sleep, this is the center of the universe, because your sleep is helping you with your recovery, your overall health, all the wonderful things, all the magic that our body does. It all occurs at nighttime. It happens during that time when we're sleeping. We are rejuvenating. We are, you know, all the cells are turning over, and it's so, so important for your physical and your mental well-being too. When you've had a shit night's sleep, it's so hard to function the next day. And again, I'm just going to touch on it lightly, but when we're thinking about sleep habits, get away from your phone last thing at night, just stick it in the other room. You do not need to be looking at blue light distractions. And for those of you ladies that do have, either you've got businesses or you've got careers that require you to be on your phone, I would strongly recommend keeping work and personal phone very, very separate. It has been so valuable to the way that I treat myself as well. As you know, this business is, you know, a part of my it's a part of me. It's everything that you know, I bring to you ladies. I'm so passionate about it. And so you really want to make sure that sleep, you really take it, you don't take it lightly. Even when it comes to our hunger and everything is navigated from this thing called sleep, and our emotions, etc. So hydration. So the recommendation is 6 to 8 glasses. 1.2 liters. If I'm honest with you, that's the absolute floor of this. Really, you should be looking at 2 liters plus. And if you're engaged in physical activity, it's even more important and more vital that you stay well hydrated. So stress management, stress just burdens and it kind of takes over lives, right? So it's so important to understand stillness, to respect space as well. And practicing things like meditation, deep breathing, and even engaging in other hobbies can be really helpful at reducing those stress. And it's so simple, but even just sitting down and escaping, via reading a book, like just spending a few moments and few minutes each day, whether that's before bed or the beginning of your day. And sometimes actually, even at the beginning of the day, I quite like the sort of the self-help books. I feel like they can be really helpful in terms of helping you see the light, reducing your anxiety levels as well. And then just also helping your sort of mental navigation for the day as well. So looking at stress reduction techniques are going to help reduce cortisol. They're going to help improve those health outcomes as well. And then when we're thinking about the long-term benefits of, fitness when we are aging, it's going to help with that quality of life. So staying active is going to enhance your energy levels, your productivity, and your overall life satisfaction. I cannot explain, or I cannot I can explain, but I just think it's so, so important to have fitness. Fitness is this wonderful thing that nobody can take away from you. You own it. And yes, things are going to happen. I know that there are issues where, diseases or other risks and other things can happen to us that are out of our control. But the things that we can control, we should really, and we ought to do our best with. Physical activity with adults, typically it lowers as we get older, and whether that's work stresses, if you have children, etc., you have adults that you caregive to. These are the sorts of things that pull you away from general physical activity. So it's even more important for you to work on it. And again, I say again, but it's going to help you with your independence as you get older as well, or when you get older. Everything that we do now, ladies, when we're in our 30s and our 40s, is setting us up for the future. And it's not all doom and gloom. It's not to say that we always need to be thinking about ourselves when we're old, but all the actions that we do today, they dictate the type of independence that we are going to have in our later years. And having that independence and that mobility is going to reduce the need for assistance. So regular exercise helps with, within our midlife. It's going to help with better physical function in our older age. I really hope you enjoyed this topic, because I really, really enjoyed presenting it to you. Again, ladies, if you've got any questions, make sure that in your check-ins, you're always providing topic suggestions, because either how big or how small they are, there's always a great discussion point to talk about. And again, if you've just stumbled across this podcast and you'd love to learn more about me, what I do, the Girl Boss Method, then you need to shoot me a follow on Instagram. Find me at Ritu Bra. I will include that in the comments or in the description below. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you here next time.